Hey folks, and welcome to today's video. Today I just wanted to do a simple video explaining the Golem build I've been playing during 3.19 Lake of Kalandra, and hopefully just create a simple little chat and a video to help a few players get into the game and maybe try a build out that they've not tried. So in my guides, I don't baffle you with a ton of information. I'm not interested in that because I know there's a load of maths and everything possible. We just like to keep it more about the playstyle, how the build feels, and my experience. So I've been playing golems for the first time, flame golems. These are these little guys that are running around with me, and I also have a chaos golem and these little skitter bots running around with me. So I kind of have a collection, an army of golems fighting for me. Now the build began through leveling, and the leveling process, if you're interested in, if you head to my channel, if you scroll down, there are my live stream archives which are here, and you can see how I leveled it, and it leveled very smoothly. I basically began playing flame golem as soon as possible. I used a couple of wands, fire gear, and we just muddled our way through the campaign, and it was rather enjoyable. Didn't really have any problems with damage. I felt it was solid, it was reasonable. We've begun to heist, we've begun to delve, and all of the content that I've personally thrown at it has gone well. It's done the full atlas for me. I've started killing some guardians, and yeah, what we've been focusing on mainly this league is delve. So we're currently at delve 261, so if you want to experience a little bit of delve, you can get down delving with it, and it feels relatively okay. Now, how I've gone about the build is there are many builds out there that use specters, and you have to go into global chat to go and get your specters, and that was kind of annoying. Also, this league, minions tend to die a little bit more than usual, and so I just binned off the specters, and I decided to keep it simple and go for a replica Shroud of the Lightless. Now, this costs 2 divine orbs, and that will take some farming, I admit, but you don't need this at the beginning. The chess piece I was using at the start was indeed this, and you can see it's not even selling for 60 chaos orbs. It just had 2 lots of chaos resistance on it, life ES, and I was kind of a hybrid of life ES. And then since we've transitioned to this, the main weapon we're using is a Pledge of Hands. So the idea behind the build is we're using Flame Golem, minion damage, control destruction, spell echo, GMP, and concentrated effect to basically give us extra greater spell echo, so they will fire more often. The general playstyle is I literally press the Q button. That's all I'm pressing, the Q button, and that brings all my minions to me, that convocates them to me, and once they've jumped to me they shoot. So I'm just running around and occasionally pressing Q. And I have Molten Shell on left click, so it's automatically casting all the time, which is why you see the fire around me. And that's it. There's basically like 2 buttons, and we have a curse that we throw out. So it's been a very relaxing playstyle. I'll demonstrate just how the playstyle looks at the moment, just so you get a feel for the actual game itself. So we'll just take you to a small node here. So you're loading in, we have convocate, we have curses, and then we'll chat about the gear and how it's all going. So you can see what's happening right now as I'm throwing out this wave, and this is a wave of conviction that's making them ignite, it's making them more vulnerable to fire, and my golems are just shooting everything down. You can use volley. There is a gem called volley. That kind of makes it spread out a little bit more. However, I found with delving, most of it's you running straight on, so I don't need as much spread, and I found GMP to be very useful. GMP meaning greater multiple projectiles. And basically, I will run around. If you look at my defenses, I am 76, 75, 75, and I could be higher, to be completely honest. I am capped chaos res when I put my correct gear on, and we are currently at depth 200, and we are fighting an arch nemesis, so that was a little bit of a tanky guy, but you can see that we're all right. We are also, if I could stop being attacked whilst I'm trying to loot, you will see that we have a chance to block of 50 and 64, and with my room is up we are capped, and it's generally been a very, very smooth build, and I've enjoyed it. It's not the most electrifying WWE Rocky Sports, you know, the most electrifying man in the arena. It's not the most electrifying build you're ever gonna play, but it's enjoyable and it's simple, and it's allowed me to farm and relax and do little things like, right, I'm interacting with the menu. My golems are protecting me, because everything tries to kill you these days when you're in menus. So that's kind of how the build looks. We've spoke about the staff itself. The helmet, ideally what you want is a +2 to all minion skill gems with whatever else you need. Now, I managed to get a flame golem enchant on a bone helmet, and I just basically used chaos essences until I found something reasonable, and I stuck with +1 minion, chaos res, and life. My amulet is a +1 fire skill amulet. These cost literally a couple of chaos, and I've enchanted charisma onto it, which is 2 gold oils, I believe. However, for the longest time I was using a much cheaper one down here, champion of the cause, which is just 1 golden one. That gives us extra auras to reserve. And ideally, yes, you could have a +2, you could have crazy +4, you can have all of this stuff, but for me, the +1 has been decent enough, and anything else you can get on it, I just went for some resists. My minion rings, now, I found this in Delve, this fractured minion damage ring, and I basically just annulled a useless mod off it and then crafted some chaos res. That's all I did. So any kind of minion damage ring is nice. I'm using an unset ring here to put in determination, because we are a little bit socket starved. And again, this is just life and resists and chaos res. It's very simple. I like the builds that I play to be simple in theory, then the gearing is just easy. These gloves, again, I think we found them, and we had dex, life, chaos res, prefix of minion damage, and then we used our red and our blue orbs, which are in the currency tab here in exotic, which is basically you'll start finding them once you begin mapping and doing the quest. You can then put on minion damage and hinder with spells, so we have a little bit of hinder chance with our spells, and our minions do extra damage. Our boots aren't the best at all. I really haven't messed about with the boots nearly as much as I should. Again, just movement speed, life, and resists. Now, the key aspect of the build, I guess you can say, is the jewels. And what we ended up going for was in our Darkness Enthroned, which makes our Abyss jewels have a little bit more performance, shall we say. We got hinder, fire damage, and life. Hinder, fire damage, and life. Those are the things that we went for. And in here, in the rest of our Abyss slots, we've got the same. We went for increased damage if you've used a minion skill, and fire damage, and I've just stacked them up. So once I've used a minion skill, such as you can see if it's a minion skill, by the way, if you want to look at the tag under the name profile, it says minion. So this is a minion skill, so there you go. I've now used a minion skill and my minions are doing more damage, and that's the general idea. And we're just stacking these. Now if I want to pull one of these out and price check it, we just have minion damage and fire damage, 15 chaos. So we've basically got a load of 15 to 20 C gems, jewels, sorry, in here, and we've got I think it's a 1 to 2 divine, 6 linked pledge of hands. I linked it myself. You know, if we take a look at the helmet, flame golem enchant on a bone helmet, if we take a look, 120 C. If we don't want it on a bone helmet, it's 3 chaos. And to be honest, is it worth 100 chaos for 20 minion damage? Probably not, because you can get a lot of value out of the blue and red orbs. So it's even an idea to not even go on a minion helmet, to be completely honest, and you can save yourself money. So that is it. The last thing that we've got here is the build, and it's sort of how it functions is it uses these jewels, which are called, if we can pull one out, a primordial harmony. Now these jewels themselves are 1 to 5 chaos. I think I have about 6 or 7 of these, so around 40 odd chaos. I might have 8 of them, I think. And basically this just means that your golem skills have increased cooldown, recovery rate, they're shooting faster, you have damage per different summon, the golems regen life per second, and you're basically just stacking them. If you want to take a look down here on the toolbar, you can see that I have a 2.2 cooldown. If I put this one in, I have a 2.03 cooldown. So it's basically, you know, it's making them shoot more often, it's making them do more damage, it's doing all of this stuff. And we are going around our tree, stacking them as much as we can. Eventually, you can transition to cluster jewels, and these cluster jewels are very cheap. This is not one of those builds where you go, oh no, cluster jewels. Literally, all this cluster jewel has is 9 passives, minion damage, right? This costs 1 chaos orb, and if you get renewal on it, it costs 4 chaos orbs. So this build is cheap. That's all I wanted it to do. Be relaxing. I can chat on Discord, I can chat on stream, have my minions shoot stuff, and away we go. The 2 expensive jewels are a Primordial Might, which is 34 chaos, and an Anima Stone. Now these actually cost me a divine early on in the league, so they've dropped a hell of a lot of in price. You can purchase one of these, or if you didn't know, the way you can make an Anima Stone is you vendor the 3 different types of golem jewels, and then you can make an Anima Stone. So you can get one of these, one of the blue ones and one of the white ones, and make an Anima Stone. So we just have 2 cluster jewels which give renewal. Renewal gives double damage and life regen. Again, I haven't messed with this too much. The only tweaks I've done compared to other people that I've seen is I'm using GMP instead of volley. I'm using a lot of abyssal jewels just because as well I like the idea of the replica Shroud of the Lightless. I think it's a cool unique. I'm using Arumis for some block, and we have decided to go for Glancing Blows. Glancing Blows basically means you take 65% of damage from blocked hits. So we're basically negating 35% of damage because we're always going to block, and therefore we're always going to take damage. And we have little nodes like regen when you do block. There was another node as well that I ended up taking. You could also get regen on your boots, which would be lovely. And you can do little things if you want. You can drop a flame golem and you can put a stone golem in and run 4 flame golems, a chaos golem, and a stone golem. And I found the build to be quite fun. I'm a little bit bored of it now, which is why I'm re-rolling. But after I've played a build and completed the whole Atlas and, you know, yada yada, I'm normally pretty bored anyway. If you take a look in my tab, you know, you can see I've killed Shaper, I've killed a Minotaur. It was no problem. I've done the Xeris and whatever. Now, will this be the build to take you to Uber Maven? No, probably not. But this build was very cheap, very simple to get going, and that's all I wanted. I wasn't sure if I was in the mood to play PoE a lot, and it carried me through to the end game, or start of the end game, I guess you could call it now. The Ascendancy we are playing as is a witch, and we are playing as an elementalist, basically because it gives us buff effects of golems, extra golems, extra golems. It gives us this nice elemental shield, and basically it gives us exposure, so it negates more fire. I'll run you through the gems if you need them. So I'm using Flame Dash, Summon Chaos Golem, Feeding Frenzy, and Convocation. And for our curse setup, Combustion, I'm using Divergent Flammability. I was using normal Flammability, but I did find this in Heist, and I think the only difference is it gives us more chance to ignite. I'm honestly not even sure if that's worth it, or if that's even mathematically the best, but I just kept it. We're using Hex Tech Support and Wave of Conviction. In our gloves, we're using Anger, Generosity, and Molten Shell. That's basically giving our golems anger. And Summon Skitterbots, which are these little things running around with Shock and Chill. Flasks are just Curse, Removal, sort of Quicksilver. Arumis, a Basalt with extra armor, and Corrupting Blood and Ignite removal. We did 2 bandits. We killed all the bandits for the extra 2 points. I've upgraded my Soul of the Brine King so I can't be frozen. And I've also got life charges, life flask regain charges, because sometimes in Delve it just gets a bit hectic, but you can really choose whatever you want, and upgrade them as well for more safety. So that was just a general look at the Flame Golem build itself. You can import my character from POB, it's GGZII, and the character name is the Glazers. And that's it. You know, if you want to take a look at a quick map just to round this up, we can just chuck in any old map here. I tell you what we'll do is we'll chuck in a tier 16 map just to demonstrate that it can perform. Right, so this has extra AoE, so we'll do a soul fight mission because I could do with one anyway. So let's run some soul fight. We're in a gardens map here. So the general idea, we're running along and we are pulling everything towards us with Convocation. There are little quality of life things that you can do as well. If you want to level up a little bit more, you could go ahead and get an extra passive point and take this mastery, where Convocation has increased cooldown rate, so you can pull them towards you more often. That's a nice feeling. But yeah, this is not, I'm not going to lie to you and try to say this will slaughter the Atlas. This is, oh, you know what I mean? Some YouTubers, they just oversell everything. The reality is, it's a pretty simple, solid little build that got me going, and it's a unique playstyle. I've never played with the Golems before. It's not the fastest mapper in the world. Does it have the best single target? No. Is it the most safe? No. But you, oh my god, we have, is this, what's going on here? Oh, we have an Innocence Touched. Is this streamer RNG? Hold on a minute, guys. Now, Innocence Touched, I believe, gives you a lot of currency. No, it just gave me Gilded Scarabs. Well, almost streamer RNG, but not quite. Almost streamer RNG. I'd also like to just say, boys, we've had a lot of interaction on the channel recently, and I appreciate that. Now, not everyone agrees with me. Some people do, some people don't. That's life. But there's been a lot of traction on the channel. We've had some new subscribers. We've had some people tune in to the stream for the first time. And it's been a pretty chill, interesting period of time to have a bit of traction on my small channel. So I understand that a few of you might have subscribed and be thinking, bro, I am not interested in a trashy golem build guide. This sucks. That's absolutely fine. But the way I run the channel is I just play a build, have a chat about it, explain how it feels and all of that stuff. And I think a lot of players are just looking for something simple to get themselves going. One of my other build videos that did well was a build video about Lightning Arrow, and it was just a simple bow build to get you going. That was it. And I think some people just want that. They just want to sign in after a day at work or whatever, and just have some build that they know will end up functioning. It's simple. They can just pick out some life and resist gear. They can get some chaos res and maybe get a few defenses and learn a few mechanics. Not be completely bombarded by cooldown reduction rate of a so forth, you know what I mean? Like, it can get heavy on the maths and POB and all of this stuff. Generally, you're just going to use a few spells to level, and then once you start to unlock your golems, you're going to start putting your golems in. And every time you purchase a Primordial Harmony jewel, your damage is going to go up a little bit. It's going to shoot more often. It's going to feel nice each time you put an extra jewel in. So yeah, this was the idea of the build. Hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, we are slowly making our way through these tier 16s. Is it absolutely mind-blowing? Have you got your trance music on slamming through everything? No. But as you can see, you know, we're pretty safe. The damage is alright. This is a tier 16 after all. And if you go onto a boss, effectively what you do is you just pull everything onto it and you curse. And then you can just run around, basically, because all your minions are shooting for you. Eventually they'll all line up and target the correct guy, and he goes down, and there you go, he's dead. Bob's your uncle. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Appreciate all the support on the channel. If you're interested, I stream live on twitch.tv/GGZII. I think, is he twinned? Did he come back into life? And yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this little showcase. I'll throw a POB up in the description. Hopefully this helps. Have a good one. I know the league isn't the best league, guys. I know there are some fair critiques out there, but I do think that a lot of it is overblown. Yes, there is a lot of correct statements, I get it, but PoE is always roughly the same. You just run around, you make a build, it feels good seeing it grow and improve, and then eventually we all get bored and then we quit and then we wait for the next league. So I just thought I'd throw this up there. Have a great evening, folks. Peace.